Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Good morning. Wonderful Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Raskrijanam Chaiva Vedam Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayantiraya Nasta Prayestabhavishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utanashote Before reciting the stream of Bhagavatam, which is a very meaningful context, one should offer respectful obeisances to the person right, and to Narayana and Rishi, the supremacy, and to Notice Saraswati, goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam, by rendering of service to spirituals, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of God, whose praise or transcendental songs is established as the good effect. Can anyone tell me why we offer our obeisances to these personalities before every Bhagavatam class? Brandon?
Because they're incarnations of God.
Saraswati is not, honestly, I don't know that much about Narayan or Rishi. Anyone else? Yeah?
Because we require mercy for everyone to understand what we're not doing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, we need help. Yeah, we need help. We can't do this on our own. And we have to always pay obeisances to the great devotees of the Lord. You can't go directly to Krishna. You have to go through his devotees. So yeah, we just call out a little for every class. And today we're going to be looking at Shringi. And Shringi is the one who cursed Maharaj Parikshit. And he definitely did not pay his respectful obeisances to Maharaj Parikshit, because he threw a snake bird at him. The power of his Brahmana position. So yeah, we'll get into that. Give me a second.
The snake.
What up?
It was a snake.
He was a snake for snake.
He was a snake.
Mhm.
A snake for a snake.
Snake for a snake. Okay. Yeah, so Maharaj Parikshit came into the scene. He was unusually bewildered, and he put a snake around the Rishi's neck, who was in trance, because he was like, "You're not in trance. You can hear me." You know, I feel like, yeah, I kind of get it. But yeah, never underestimate people. They're all more special and unique than we know. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. Yeah, we're gonna do 32 to 37.
The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there, the boy spoke as follows.
The brother's sons shake said, "Oh, just look at the scenes of the rulers who, like cows with watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants."
The descendants of the kingly orders are definitely designated as watchdogs, and they must keep themselves at the door. On what grounds can dogs enter the house and claim to dine with the master on the same place?
She's throwing.
After the departure of Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead and the supreme ruler of everyone, these upstarts that flourished, our protector being gone. Therefore, I myself shall take up this matter and punish them. Just witness.
I can't help.
While speaking to the claimants and discharge the following wonderful
The Brahmin the son cursed the king thus: "On the seventh day from today, a snake bird will bite the most wretched one of this dynasty, because of his having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father."
Have you guys seen what is Aurora? Sleeping Beauty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Yeah, so we're just these portraits are kind of small, so I have a few points on a few of them. And can someone chant the Sanskrit? Sorry to cop out.
Tasya putro titejasvi, haran balako bakai, yangam papitam tattam, sutva tatredam abravit, tasya putro titejasvi, haran balako bakai, yangam papitam tattam, sutva tatredam abravit.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll make me really happy.
Haran balako bakai,
Tatredam abravit.
Tasya prasodita jaspai.
Yajanagram prapitam tatam.
Tatreda abravit.
Tasya putro titejasvi.
Iharan balako bakai,
Pitam tatam.
Nice coordination, everyone.
We're not done yet.
Okay.
Anthony. Oh.
First line.
We can't see the top.
Sorry.
Tasya putroho tejasyahu.
Rajan Gyanham Prajan Tatam.
Go Vegeta.
No. Called out.
Yeah.
So
All right, together. Word for word. Uttara. Okay, translation together. The sage had a son who was very powerful and a promised son. But he was plagued with his weakness, he heard his father's distress, which was so Shringi was very powerful, but power doesn't really mean that much. He had no character, no culture, and we often are attracted to power. How many people have fantasized about being the president before? Like I don't know, as a kid or something. Or what are some dreams you guys had as a kid? Yeah.
Yeah, like my dad would always be like, "You're gonna get an Oscar," and I'm gonna come with you to the Oscar. So that was totally my fantasy, getting an Oscar. And we went from Nate Prabhu's house yesterday, and he had this little like best grandfather trophy in the world that looks like an Oscar, and I was like, "Oh."
Bruce.
Becoming an MLB player.
Oh, Brandon.
I wanted to be a professional skateboarder.
Jackson.
To be a pirate.
Yes.
These feel like confessions. Lord of the Pirates. Yeah. Krishna House is like a motley crew. They're all different. Yeah. Trying to kidnap. Except this pirate hands out the treasure. Okay. Oh yeah, my dream as a kid was I used to like fantasize about like for some reason like shooting like a game-winning soccer goal and then like it actually like saves the world. It was like really elaborate. It was really elaborate. Okay, purport. Bruce or anyone?
Purport. Due to Maharaj Parikshit's good governance, even a boy of tender age who was playing with other inexperienced boys could become as powerful as a qualified brahmana. This boy was known as Shrinki, and he achieved good training in brahmacharya by his father so that he could be as powerful as a brahmana, even at that age. But because the age of Kali was seeking an opportunity to spoil the cultural heritage of the four orders of life, the inexperienced boy gave a chance for the age of Kali to enter into the field of Vedic culture.
Okay, before we continue, Shringi got his power because of Maharaj Parikshit's good government. It says that in the first sentence. Due to Maharaj Parikshit, even a tender age can acquire such qualified Brahminical qualities. And in many ways, Shringi bit the hand that fed him, you know, and does not pay his proper respects, as we'll see later. And um, and he doesn't even know how that he was given gifts, and he's ungrateful for them, and not a good quality. And then yeah, Age of Kali seeks opportunity to spoil culture. And it just made me start thinking of like what is American culture? Like actually what is it? I kind of feel like we don't have a lot. We have McDonald's and football, but like Thanksgiving. But yeah, anyone have some comments like what is American culture? Yeah.
Gandhi has a nice thing to say. Burgers and hot dogs. No, Gandhi said it'd be a good idea.
What would be a good idea? But it's not.
Because we don't have it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, you're from a different country, so you could probably tell us really what's up.
Well, he said that about Western culture.
Okay.
We had once an American policy helping us with fundraising helped us the temple. And he was joking in one of his classes. And said, what's the difference between the yogurt and the American? And he said, one has a culture.
Yeah. John?
At least what I've seen, a lot of it shaped by two main things: is all the pagan holidays that are on this whack calendar we have, and then TV programming. You put those two together,
Yeah. Yeah, it's called a month, but it's 31 days when a moon cycle is 28. It doesn't make that much sense to me either. We have three. Bruce, Presence, and Champa.
I want to say it's transforming into internet culture. The kids are developing brain rot and using that lingo now. And things are becoming like I noticed in my neighborhood decorations for holidays.
Yeah. My stepsister was like telling my grandma about this new term huzz and like how it means like, oh, I'm trying to get like my husband. And I don't know, she's like in like 7th grade. I don't know. That was the lighter end. She also said some other words that made me like gasp. Presence?
American culture is that where we have been told that our value is based on what we can produce and what we can own. And so it is based very strongly upon that which is the good.
Coming in hot. Jump up.
Yeah, I think it's totally based on consumerism. Like just get buying, and money and power and celebrity culture.
Yeah, so I was just thinking that when you're talking about, yeah, we get idolize these like models who and everything else. Yeah, please.
That was actually just a little bit. I wanted to get an Oscar. My idea was that if I became famous, then I could do good in the world.
Yeah.
That I could empower people and give them morals and everything. And I quickly realized when I went to acting school that was a bad idea. So
about consumerism, the theme of the 80s was whoever dies with stories.
Brandon. Oh, Gopi too. Brandon, okay, Brandon first.
American culture is land of the free, home of the brave. So
and
yeah, because I mean there is a lot of freedom. So if we have free will, character whereas other they kind of there is some good sides to it too.
Yeah. Thank
we
you
do
for
have
that.
the freedom to choose where we want to go.
Yeah, thank you for that point. Yeah, as devotees, we're kind of just a little disgusted with the world, but that is a point that there is a sense of like individualism that it can be healthy. Gopi Jackson.
Um, so I think because there's this idea of American first sometimes loud and bombastic. People can think that Americans are very social and love social connections, but my experience is actually quite funny, not that social. Of course, I come from Africa, well, they're very warm. There's a huge sense of community culture, so it's maybe not fair. And my experience, obviously, yeah, much different, but like, seems the same. But that's just interesting. Of course, it has to do with a lot of um, but yeah, or so
Okay, Jackson.
It's very much a culture, stigmatization, when such things are not instantly attainable suppression.
Yeah,
Movements around.
Rita.
I was just reflecting that America has been a country of immigrants, so over time, based on it's been the culture has kind of evolved over time. So I feel like America was quite less, the consumerism culture was quite less than 100 years ago. It was more about values, and especially World War II, they were about fighting for the right thing and so forth. And then after World War II, prison culture grew a lot. So yeah, it's a melting pot. It keeps evolving and changing. Yeah, that's what that's about America. But of course, it's true. So stay, and even in different parts of America, you'll see cultures because it's so big. And like in the Midwest, and then I about it how people are more religious, and then they carry a lot of moral goodness values that are persistent in culture, in the culture. So yeah, it's such a mix, such a melting pot.
Yeah, Rita.
Yeah, it's also as a culture of cowboys in India.
Yeah.
And when my mom came to visit us, 14, I think, picked up from the Houston airport, so on the way to San Antonio. By the time we reached, it's like, yeah, right. She said, "Oh, cowboys in India." We went to the class that Native American, unfortunately, culture is quite rich at. But then along the way, what Brandon was saying, although Gandhi made a remark, Western culture, we know that Prabhupada did appreciate the land of the right. He actually appreciated those two things, the freedom that America has and facility America has given him as he was establishing.
Thank you, Baru. Yeah, as Prabhupada came to the West because America has an influence the West in general on the rest of the world. Like you mentioned how your mom coming from Croatia has like an American conception, and how Hollywood reaches to many countries, not just English speaking countries. And go Paul.
Prabhupada said, there's no happiness. There's actually no happiness in the material world.
Hawaii. Brandon.
Yeah, last point was that it's also the land of diversity. There's since so many other countries, like you said, our country is kind of known as like the best country. Everybody, a lot of people outside the country look forward to coming to America for freedoms, because a lot of countries don't have that. And so we have a very diverse range of cultures, beliefs, systems, different jobs. There's just a whole range of different things in America.
I also really appreciate what you said in Maximum because Prabhupada, he did say that two things. He said that one, if we combine the material excellence of America with the spiritual excellence of India, then that's like perfection. So he actually so much appreciated that excellence, and he wanted that to be used in Krishna service. And he also went to New York, which he considered to be the most important city in the world, and that city could influence all the other cities. And also the positive America is also the land of opportunity and facility. And it did really, especially, it does still, but it depends on where, and it used to even more have a tremendous amount of religion and values and goodness. It's also much cleaner than a lot of places in the world. Like, it's very organized, and Prabhupada said that organization is so crucial for spreading.
Jai. Yeah, but you hit on the point I was kind of tied into is that we're being trained in culture here at Krishna House. Like I think I realized I was lacking in my life always, and then we come and we're given this amazing Brahminical culture that um, we're all being trained up in, and we're being taught how to be clean, organized, thoughtful people. Um, and poly poly degrades culture. Uh, and I'll just finish the purport real quick. So Stringy, Stringy started this hatred of the lower orders of life. Okay. Hatred of the lower orders of life began from this Brahmana boy under the influence of Kali, and thus cultural life began to dwindle day after day. The first victim of Brahminical injustice was Maharaj Parikshit, and thus the protection given by the king against the onslaught of Kali was slackened. So, yeah, culture, the grade of culture starts with the Brahminical class, really. Because once you have a headless society, it's just a chicken running around. And it's not, culture is not a box that we get put in. It's not like, oh, I'm an American, I'm a football player, whatever. It's not a box, but culture is actually supposed to be a foundation for people to grow off of. That's why in Varnashram system, there's categories, and they're not supposed to box people in like they do in Kali Yuga, but they're actually supposed to be foundations for people to grow off of. And proper culture is beautiful, while as when culture is not properly understood or it's has the wrong values, it can be superficial and not fulfilling. Okay, we're also going to read this report. Actually, no, we're going to go to the next one. It's kind of much, but yeah. Okay, Bruce.
This is for 33, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so glad we did this. I want to talk about it. I'm going to read it first. I'm just going to read the translation of it. The descendants of the kingly orders are definitely designated as watchdogs, and they must keep themselves at the door. On what grounds can a dog enter the house and claim to dine with the master on the same plate? So Shringi's a little boy, but he's still throwing shots. He's calling Maharaj Parikshit a watchdog. Um, and it's a little ironic because often the saying is you spot it, you got it. And so he's calling in a different verse, he calls him a crow and a watchdog, and when really it's Shringi, the one who is degraded and barking, you know. So okay. The inexperienced Brahmin boy certainly knew that the king asked for water from his father, and the father did not respond. He tried to explain his father's inhospitality, but in an impertinent manner befitting an uncultured boy. So Shringi did not have all the information. Like Kalakanta was talking about yesterday, when you don't have all the info, we're more prone to be angry when we don't have all the info. We assume, we jump the gun, and yeah, Shringi didn't know that the whole situation. He didn't necessarily think about how tired and hungry Maharaj Parikshit was. He wasn't thinking about, oh, maybe my dad like just uh like was uh didn't see him or something. He jumped the gun, and it was impertinent. Uh, that's what happens when we let ourselves be ruled by sometimes lower emotions. We can be unbefitting of a situation. And okay, continuing, he was not sorry. He was not at all sorry for the king's not being well received. On the contrary, he justified the wrong act in a way characteristic of the Brahmanas of Kali Yuga. So, in Kali Yuga, Brahmanas can justify anything they want. They can say Prabhupada says blank. And there's a quote by William Shakespeare about the devil cites scripture for his purposes. Um, yeah, you can justify anything. Shruti told me a story about one time a person who they were Ritvik, I think, and then they were just getting really offensive towards devotees, and then they had an insight. They're like, "Aha! I finally realized." And Prabhupada said, "Chant 16 rounds." So he started to chant 16 rounds, like saying 16 rounds, 16 rounds, 16 rounds. Yeah.
He realized that Prabhupada had given him a very unique instruction to chant 16 rounds, those two words. So that's what his
Yeah. And you could justify that. Prabhupada said chant 16 rounds. He said that verbatim. You know? You could justify it. But it doesn't mean it's correct. No.
That's a true story.
Oh yeah. I met his daughter. She's a devotee. She told us.
Does he still chant 16?
Does he? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it also is that story was really powerful to me hearing it, just because yeah, how offenses take us away from Krishna every time. And how yeah, and how we can still feel like we're Vaishnavas even if we're totally off that. And how someone can wear a dhoti and tilak, but it doesn't make them a devotee at all. And yeah, just be mindful. So continuing, he compared the king to a watchdog, and so it was wrong for the king to enter the home of a brahmana and ask for water from the same pot. The dog is certainly reared by the master, but that does not mean the dog shall claim to dine and drink from the same pot. This mentality of false prestige is the cause of fall down of the perfect social order. And we can see that in the beginning it was started by an inexperienced son of a brahmana. As the dog is never allowed to enter within a room and hearth, although it is reared by the master, similarly, according to Shringi, the king had no right to enter the house of Shamaka Rishi. According to the boy's opinion, the king was on the wrong side and not his father, and thus he justified his silent father. So he justified his father. Can always have a great 4-page argument for anything. Yeah, that's why it's good to check in. we can think ourselves into any justification. That's why it's good to be checked sometimes. That's what checking does. It's like, know your justifications, your excuses, leave them away. No good. Yeah, and so we don't always have all the info. Shringi was mad because part of his anger was because he didn't fully see the situation. He didn't check in with his father, that's for sure. He checked in with his father because later his father goes on to say, like, what have you done, my son? But he didn't check in with his father. And it's because he wasn't humble. Humility is realizing that we have limited senses and that we are really not as smart as we think we are. And that we need some guidance. Everyone needs some support and guidance. And we have our, I mean, we're so feeble. Like we have to poop every day. Like our existence is kind of pathetic. And yet we like and yet we think like we can play God and curse people and like and employ karma on on God's behalf. you know, it's silly. Stringy's a little, but we all have a little stringy in us. We're all like that 3-year-old with the staff and like like a little tyrant on the inside. At least I have stringy. I was laughing when I was reading this because I was like, yeah, I'm a stringy. I'm a little stringy. Okay. After the departure, this is verse 35. After the departure of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead and the supreme ruler of everyone, these upstarts have flourished, and our protector is God. Therefore, I myself shall take up this matter and punish them. Just witness my power. Yeah, he's playing God. Yeah, make Vedic culture great again. He's playing God, and he calls Maharaj Parikshit an upstart when he's the biggest upstart of them all. And that's what Kali Yuga is, the age of hypocrisy. If you're throwing the stone, it's because you have it in your heart. It's the age of hypocrisy. He calls him an upstart, but he's the one who's trying to oh, our Krishna's gone. Like, I guess we need a new protector now. It's like, yeah.
I feel like this is the start of terrorism because he understands that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? So he's not, in that sense, there are other demons who deny Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, right? But he accepts. So, but he's still in this mentality of like, I'm gonna protect what's right and you're wrong. I think it's so dangerous, and we see this in the world, different groups that are like, I'm gonna protect, God's plan or whatever, but they don't have that humility, and humility is really the qualification humility is the qualification to see like a true spiritualist or religionist. And I think this point that you were saying was so beautiful as well. Like he didn't check in with his authority. Like we might have all these different ideas, right? But if we don't check in with, our guru or our authority, then it's like you could just be off track.
Yeah, such a great point. Yeah, most terrorists, in fact, have some religious zeal, you know? And yeah, Shringi is the start of that. He's the start of the Brahminical culture that turns rotten. So I think that's a great point. And go Paul.
This short point on it. Just continue what Prabhupada has said that the actual difference you will see just towards us later. What's the difference between the father and the son, and how the son is so spoiled and how the father is so righteous. Because they're also Brahmanas, so the Brahmanas' forgiveness is like topmost quality. So they're ready to really not hold any anger or any towards the person himself. Then something that is blind, very high quality. And unfortunately, the son doesn't have his quality. It's kind of angry. But father will see later on is still in the two
Yeah, great point. And this is something I heard. This kind of reminded me of the danger of deity worship in a way, because Shringi is with a really his dad is like this powerful sage who's in trance and in samadhi. And Shringi, just from being associated with him, has a little ego about it. He's like, yeah, that's my dad, Like I'm the son of a powerful Brahmana. And this can happen when I haven't experienced it with anyone, but I've just heard that when people are like, "Oh, I'm the head pujari," like if you need to go to Radha, what is it, Radha Muladhari? Radha Mulidar, you go through me, and we can get a little bit of a, it's just when you're associating with something so pure, it's easy to be like, yeah, I'm pretty great because I get to be around this. But we have to remember that we're the ass pujari, and that's what you say. That's what I heard you say. Like the ass of a donkey. Like that's what Radhanath Swami said to the head pujari of Radha Muladhari. Tell me that story. Okay, anyway.
I don't remember the story.
Instead of like someone being like, you're not the head pujari, you're the ass pujari. Did I have timelines or something? Do you not know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. Okay, continuing. Yeah. Witness my power. Like what a show off. And it's this desire for I wrote it down. So Shringi's entitlement a subtle form of it could be Pratisha Puja, which is a need for recognition and a need for being worshipped. And he wants all his friends, he's with all his playmates right now. Prabhupada will say that in a later verse. Prabhupada uses the word playmates too, so it's just like Prabhupada's like subtly dissing him. And he's with his playmates and he wants to for them to see his power. And it's often when we're with peers, at least when we're younger, that we're more susceptible to do the stupidest things. Um, because we want people to see that we're brave or that, we have kahunas or whatever. I thought that was a nicer word, but I know it's just Spanish. Okay. Okay. And so when Kali came to degrade culture, Kali came to the head of culture. He came to the Brahmana. He came to the head of the snake. And snake, funny enough. Um, and yeah. Yeah, Shringi's just throwing insults, but they're all more reflective of him than they are of Maharaj Parikshit. And yeah, this was Krishna's arrangement for the demise for the degradation into Kali. And it says later on in a purport we're not going to read about how Krishna was so merciful that the demons that were on this planet when he was alive, that he didn't personally execute, actually got the chance to incarnate into Brahmana families. And Shringi is one of those. And that's like Krishna's, how the mercy of Krishna is that Shringi was a demon in his last life, but now he's in a Brahmana family for the potential to grow. But the thing is, if we don't build our culture, we'll never fit any Varna properly. And Shringi had no culture, and he had these demonic tendencies from his last life, even though he's with saintly persons, he didn't necessarily fully absorb himself. But Krishna is so merciful that he gave him the potential to. Yeah, okay. I think I'll stop there and open up for questions if anyone has any thoughts on Shringi and these verses. Champa?
Thank you so much for a wonderful class, Nate. How you
It's not over. I still can say something really stupid.
Well, I just wanted to say about the video worship that like a real pujari is in the mood of servant to the servant to the servant. Yeah, completely everything that you said is so true. You have the mentality of a pujari, right? And that ego can so be there. So pujaris have to be so careful to always know that. That's also why we put Guru on the altar, that we're just assisting Guru, who's assisting Prabhupada, who's assisting his Guru all the way up. And we're just the assistants. They're the ones really doing worship. And it's actually really beautiful. It's in the deity worship manual that if you're doing puja in a temple and a guest comes in, you have to like welcome the guest and attend to the guest. Yeah, so similarly how Jesus would say like if there's a fight between, your brother or your sister, like solve that and then come back to the altar and make your offering. So it's actually like in the deity worship manual that it's one of the main duties of the pujari that they're the servant of everyone who comes as Radha Muralidar's special guest, as the deity's special guest. So you have to distribute like after you make the offering, right, of say like the lunch offering or something for Raj Bhog, like you shouldn't ever take that maha until you distribute it to the guests. So you distribute to the guests first, you serve the guests first. So you're just the servant of all these special guests that Radha Muralidhar.
Thank you. Beautiful plan. President Sinjan.
So as you were, this was an amazing class. It was there was so much laughter and joy and so many good points. So thank you for being our sage for today. And I was curious, you talked a little bit about how, when we are being ruled by lower emotions, that's when our behaviors tend to be off. You also mentioned that like you have a little bit of Shrini inside of you.
Oh, totally.
And so I'm curious to know how you manage that inner Shrini, what you do when Shrini's like, I don't need witness my powers, like I know everything. So like how did you handle that personally?
It's a work in progress. I definitely think I still my stringy is still like alive and active and hasn't fully been put to bed. Even sometimes I'll be like, like walking through UF campus, like you guys don't even know the absolute truth. Like, you guys are not even chanting Hare Krishna. Or whatever. It's so easy to start to feel like you're better than someone. When really everything we've ever have that is good, we've been given. Your intelligence, your beauty. And by the way, you think you're beautiful, you should see some demigods. You'll feel like a frog, yeah. Everything, but it's just the consciousness of really feeling that and knowing that. And there's layers. That's the work of a lifetime. So I guess my advice to someone would be not something that I actually like am on, but something I could just anticipate would be a good answer would be to remember that you're given every good quality you have. Yeah. John?
Yeah, that's exactly what my thought was on. The word mercy is we're just here and have this opportunity to pick up Krishna consciousness and try to apply it in our lives as best we can to show Prabhupada's mercy and through Mahaprabhu's mercy, coming down and giving us bhakti yoga. I feel like one of my friends the friend that helped me get into Christian house, she was like, well, I'm kind of worried about you going there because I don't want you to get PPS. I'm like, what's that for y'all don't know? It's pure devotee syndrome. I'm like, what's that? Anyway. And I was like, you don't gotta worry about me because listen, I'm here on like total grace. You know what I mean? Like through the actions that I've had, like I don't even really deserve probably to be around good people. And the fact that I have opportunity to like come to Krishna House and associate with devotees and be in this wonderful city, a natural and beautiful community, like don't deserve it, and we don't really deserve the blessings that come from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But somehow, man, we got fortunate enough to be around the receive the pipeline of mercy and blessings from the Guru Prabhupada. So, don't ever get too big of a head about this, man. So we just here No, on credit.
Yeah, John, such a powerful scripting. Go on.
Just a comment to the Pujai services and offenses, not to get puffed up. What do we commit some offenses? Like one of the documents, which is Pujai is actually supposed to decide, not in the choice matter, but actually it's for heart. There's some prayers for forgiveness. Prayers for forgiveness, I guess, completely the translation. Oh my Lord, Otanagi, whatever little puja or worship that has been performed by me, although it is without devotion, without proper mantras, and without a proper performance, please let it become complete. Whatever has been offered with devotion, the leaves, the flowers, the water, the fruit, and the offering, please accept it out of your causeless mercy. Whatever had happened without the proper chanting of the mantra, or without following the proper procedure, kindly forgive all that. Specialize the next part. Whatever inauspicious things I have done out of ignorance or unknowingly, please forgive them and accept me as an insignificant servant. Let my normal condition be service, let my movement be holy pilgrimage, let my thought be remembrance of you, let my words be glorification of you. O Vishnu, let my activities with my whole mind, body, and soul be engaged in you. Thousands of offenses are performed by me, day and night, but thinking of me as a servant, kindly forgive those, O Madhusudana. O Govinda, you promise that your devotee will never perish. But remembering this over and over again, I'm able to gain my life.
Well, thank you, Gopal. Yeah, our only position is that we're on credit and and we're on a loan that we'll never be able to pay back.
What we read last night on righteous credits, I don't even have.
Yeah, we were given some mercy of devotees. Yeah, thank you everyone. It's prasadam time. Srimad Bhagavatam ki! Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Vaistave Swava Punyatava